Coming to you straight from the Rio Grande and beyond. Broadcasting to the four corners of the globe. So grab your seat, your coffee, or your sundowner.
Okay, everybody, here we go.
On point, as always. This is Gloves Off. Gloves Off.
Wherever you call home, we are there. In favorite places. Large spaces. For many homes, we have coverage that fits the way you live. And with our home systems protection, you can cover major home appliances and more. We cover more type of homes than ever. Get the coverage you and your family deserves. For a free no obligation quote, visit us online or simply give us a call.
Back at you and Gloves Off. I'm here with a great guest, a great martial artist, Guru Nick Papadakis from the LA area. We're touching base on the sport of stick fighting and how it developed, kind of started out of martial arts from the Filipino side of things, that use a lot of weapons, and kind of took off that way in California and across. And we're going to touch base on that. How are we doing today? You doing good, brother?
Yeah, all good, man. It's good to see you. Been a little busy lately, but that's always good. That's a good thing.
That's the way it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes it catches up, and sometimes we're kind of walking like if nothing's happening, and all of a sudden we take that corner, and all of a sudden it's one thing right after the other.
That's the way yeah, what it feels like right now. But it's good. I'm happy.
Let's touch base on what we were talking before on stick fighting and how it kind of developed and what's going on and what people need to see about it, because some individuals take it very seriously, very athletic individuals, and some people take it like I'm just going to wing it kind of attitude. And so,
yeah, there's kind of two approaches in a way. Like, I mean, you should always be training, right? Like, be healthy and be as good as you can. But like, then some people are sort of like a competition for instance. They're like, well, I don't know what's coming to me in the street, so let's just use this opportunity to kind of like improvise on the spot. And then, so therefore they don't train for it specifically and what they like to do. Like with the gathering, a lot of people like to set their fights before the gathering, which it's okay. I mean, like, hey, brother, we haven't fought yet. Let's do it. But then I personally like to just show up and see what happens because and this is not exactly the competition mindset, but you're kind of like making yourself, at least you know what's coming the next day. So makes you feel settled, which I don't think is the purpose of competition personally. I think it kind of to make you feel as uncomfortable as possible.
Absolutely.
Like getting through the nerves and showing up is half the battle.
Correct. Yes, if you show up to compete, you've already won. Because a lot of people will quit before the weigh-in or before the time the tournament starts, and and it happens everywhere else. Not only in stick fighting, it happens in boxing, Sabat, Thai boxing. Once you're going to go into the ring, everybody wants to, but once the date starts closing in, the dates start getting less and less. People start leaving the school for different excuses, and that always occurs. So when you have a competitive mindset or you're in a competitive realm.
Yeah, like I'm sorry.
Now people tend to be more serious once they understand that it's competition, and they themselves are going to separate themselves from the rest, and that usually occurs.
Absolutely. And I don't know if you've ever noticed this, like if you have an event, whatever it is, from even like a padded stick fight, well, first of all, you have to commit to it. That's a whole thing in itself. Simplest, littlest thing you commit to makes it real and serious. But when you get injured on the way to a competition, it seems like your injuries are multiplied. Like you may just kind of hurt your knee, but like you do that, you could do that any week of the year. But if you're leading up to a competition, it really creates a lot of anxiety.
Right.
So
I think what I've seen, coming from both realms, training for the self-defense realm, dealing for that, and then training for the ring and becoming an athlete. Once you become an athlete, you have a different mindset because you have a goal set.
yeah,
In stick fighting, it hasn't reached that, I think. You have people that just show up, I'm going to wing it. I'm a black belt in this system, so I can do it. And then they show up, and then you get a young kid that took it seriously and wins, and they're like, "Wait a minute, how can he beat me? I'm this rank." So there's a lot of shock culture right there, real quick.
that's right. And like I think it kind of a little bit goes back to the idea of a weapon being an equal. You think that if I just touch you with a stick, you're gonna die. Like I don't have to, I can eat cheeseburgers and I'll be fine as a stick, and that's just not the case. You have to have cardio, and you have to have all that stuff gives you confidence, and having confidence means you'll pull the trigger, I think, a little bit more precisely. So all the training is important. And like you said, it's not really a sport, stick fighting, even though there are competitions, which I think are important because they get to a milestone. Otherwise,
Right.
you're training. We need those. That's the way humans are. We need to graduate college, we need to go to high school, we need to graduate, we need to pick this date. And so competitions help that, whatever it is.
We've had something, as you know, we just had one, about a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. And it was different. You had a lot of people that were serious are the ones that are showing up. The ones that claim to be serious, they'll bring an excuse right away, something or other. It's not my style. It's not the style I wanted to fight against. Anything that comes in. And I look at this, and it's everybody's under the same rules. If it's competition, there's rules.
Mm-hmm.
If it's in the street, there's no rules. But we're not dealing with the street. We're dealing with competition. So your mindset has to differ a little bit, and people don't understand that. It's a great thing to have, right?
Yeah.
That competitive edge, because you get to see how others are training, and you get to see your weaknesses as well and develop them. And to me, I think it's a great learning experience.
Yeah, and it kills the ego too. It's just that, yeah, that's just what it is. I mean, yeah, it's
Absolutely.
it's
And you see it with your equipment and the stuff you sell, how the popularity is growing now more than ever.
it's leaps and bounds what it used to be. I mean, I think Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and sort of the UFC, stick fighting is particularly its own thing. But you see, like in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and competitions, that's the best place to look at competitions because they have prizes and they have a very established rule set and things like that, even though they do vary a little bit. But those people are competing and training year round. They're very competitive. Excuse me one sec. Yeah, they get really good, and they get really good quick. And that's why that sort of thing would be good for us.
Absolutely.
Did you lose? Were you able to hear that?
Yeah, you're correct. I mean, you see, I'm going to go ahead.
I'll see that, yes, it's a competition. It's not a fight. It's not the real world. I get it. But what else are we going to do? I mean, like agree with our friend, we can use a real knife. If I stab you, I won't stab you hard. Like, how do we train? Like you need to train against somebody that doesn't know you. And it's great to get that opportunity that you've never trained with and you don't know what's coming. It just helps so much.
You're correct. And it's good for building, not only that, building the community in general, and the younger practitioners look up to those that are training, and they look into that and they start building and they start getting better themselves. That's what I've seen, that they start out young and they have the other guys in front of them. They're much older and they want to be that way. And they start training in a different format. I've seen it. I've already seen it. I've seen that already. The past 10 years, it's already grown that much, and some of the young guys that we had that were 11, 12 years old when we started, they've been doing it ever since. They're in a different level.
Absolutely. And I mean, it's a culture that you're creating. Yeah, your little brother gets to see you do it, and they grow up and do it, and they get better than you, and like all these things. Like you can see it really in other sports. I mean, there are pockets, but if we could just keep it going and like have it out there where people like, I mean, hitting somebody with a stick is not that normal. I guess that's good, but we like it. We think it should be normal, but to hit somebody with a stick is not normal, and we should make it normal in the proper context. We don't want to create thugs, but if we create the proper culture, we'll get better stick fighters, which makes our culture, our place safer. We know how dangerous it is. We know what's right. We know under this culture, and the young can see the adults, and I would say that also adults need to carry themselves in a good way. Like you're saying, like excuses and, we don't need that so much as like, absolutely. Hey, good job. I'll get you next time in a friendly manner. Like,
yeah, absolutely. And that's where, not only that, that's where this camaraderie comes into play. This fellowship comes into play. Mm-hmm. You see, a lot of art started out being, how can I say, enemies. We're no longer enemies. Everybody knows each other, and people need to understand that. Everybody, and it's not about this person does this art or that person does that. It's about, let's grow together. Let's make sure we can build it. Let's make sure we can push this in a betterment. I want my students to excel in the sense of defending themselves and being proper, good citizens of society. That's basically what you're teaching. But then all of a sudden, some of them want to compete. So there we have the competition area where they can go down that route if they want to for a couple of. You don't have to train competition all year round, but if the tournament comes of age, you set aside a couple of weeks and you start training in a different format for them.
Absolutely. And I mean, how many times have you heard, like at the UFC, a guy drops out and they call another guy and he goes, yeah, well, I train year, so I'm ready to get speed quick. You kind of need to at least have a level that you're training at. And I think additionally, having dates on the calendar help, because I don't know, this may be shocking to some people. People don't usually have six-pack abs year round. Some people can, but like weightlifters don't look that good year round. I mean, they level up to it. take, then they have a competition, and then they go back to being still awesome, but they, not photograph ready, I guess. And that's the way we stick fighting. We find a competition, we get better, and then we learn and spend the rest of the time sort of digesting what we learned from the event, and then ramp up again when it's time to the next date.
Correct. Absolutely.
And
you're correct.
Because sometimes we have to learn the art side, and then sometimes we need to learn sort of the high percentage techniques that are simpler, that work a little better in competition.
Absolutely. For the people out there, we're talking about stick fighting. And if you want stick fighting equipment like helmets and padded sticks, and so just to, we don't use live sticks when you're competing. It's a padded stick that's made specifically for that purpose. And the best sticks come out of Nick's Papadakis place. If you want to give them your website and where they can order it, that'd be great.
It's bloodsport.com. The company is called Combat Instruments with a K. I thought I was being cute, but I am also a musician. That's why I made sure instrument was the title. But Combat Instruments Limited, bloodsportsingular.com. But yeah, there wasn't a lot of gear out specifically for stick fighters, and so that's what I focused on. We can still knife fight, but for that kind of training, these kind of arts. So it's just what I like, and I like
Absolutely.
that are attractive.
Before, excuse me, because I've been dealing with a sore throat for the last couple of days. But before the 80s, people knew about the Filipino martial arts and the Eskrima and Kali and so on and so forth. They didn't call it Filipino martial arts. They called it Eskrima, Arnis, or Kali. Mm-hmm. And then in the 90s, it kind of grew more. And in the early 2000s, it just kind of, everybody was training, including other arts, were implementing some type of stick fighting into their arts that didn't exist before, and now it's there. But there are arts out there that have weapon related, and some of these weapon related arts ended up with sport. You have the Japanese have a type of Japanese fencing to it. Fencing became fencing to it, and stick fighting deals with those arts that have a stick element to it. It's kind of just stick fencing, if you want to put it that way. And that's basically what it looks like. That's what it is.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get back to the competing part, but I also like the history part. I mean, Lacan's a perfect example. I mean,
absolutely.
All have canes, and probably Lacan was actually preserver of the arts, because everybody had a cane and did saber sword fighting with a stick, like in the Old West, and like Andrew Jackson carried a stick. Obviously, Teddy Roosevelt.
Right.
It's considered cocky to not have a walking stick. I mean, at one point, that was, this is kind of turn of the century stuff, but all cultures kind of have stick fighting.
Absolutely. A lot of people don't know this, but the city that had more martial training, fencing type of schools was New Orleans.
I believe that. I didn't know that.
New Orleans had a dueling school or fencing school in every corner for a long time, up to the 20s. And people used to send their kids to go train there for a period of time, and then they'll go back to where they came from. And a lot of people don't know that a lot of the aristocrats of the Victorian era would send their daughters and their sons specifically to go learn fencing in New Orleans and how to fight with a knife.
That's super interesting. I mean, isn't Jim Bowie spent a lot of time in that part of the world?
They say, Holiday and a bunch of others they claimed that came out of those schools, and there were martial arts schools for that purpose.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely correct. Lacan on the side of Savat, it's very very much prevalent. Of the sport never ended; it continued. From since the 1800s, they had a sport of Lacan all the way to now. So
Yeah. Straight up.
have changed little bits and pieces here and there, but it's still there. It's still active.
Yeah, it was. I think it was pretty common for like a naval officer, for instance, had to know French, Spanish, and they had to be a fencer.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty sure that's correct. That might be in the old Navy manual.
Absolutely.
I mean, gosh, my recall. This is just if you look at the history, you'll find probably every aristocrat could fence, or at least enough to get them in trouble.
Yeah, you're probably right. A lot of people just like nowadays. How many people do martial arts? I think a lot of people. They say only 1% of the U.S. population does martial arts. Some people say 2%. But you have a lot of schools out there of kids that do martial arts that are out there. Now that they continue with it throughout life's a different story. But like you said, they know enough to get in trouble.
Yeah, it was. This could be like a whole topic, just the history part. But I've been thinking about it all night. When you mentioned this, training for competition is interesting. Also, I mean, if you were to pick one thing for training a competition, what would you say it would be? I have an opinion, but I'd be curious.
Well, if you would ask me what's the important part of training somebody for a competition, first thing I'll say, what are the rules? You study,
Answer.
you you study the rules, and then there'll be mobility.
Mm-hmm.
So you're conditioned to move. If you're not conditioned to move, you're going to lose.
Yeah, I was gonna just as a blanket statement was cardio.
Yeah, which is movement.
Yeah. I think knowing the rule set is probably it. I don't like it when people game it, and I can't blame them if I had a contract in the UFC, holding a guy in guard because you've won the first 4 rounds for the last 30 seconds. I don't fault them for that. It's not exciting, but I guess other things are at play. But knowing the rules and then you can train for it. I think being able to, whatever the is, let's just say week half, they throw a lot of strikes. I would maximize the amount. Make sure I could throw strikes the entire.
Absolutely. One thing I would do, depending on from stick fighting to striking, like savate or boxing, I wouldn't put you inside the ring if you were training probably until a year that you've been learning your basics.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, the person goes into boxing ring and 3 weeks later he's already doing a smoker. What has he learned? He's going to learn how to take a punch. Then you can say, look, he did well. He survived. He's going to continue coming back. Well, that's also a 50-50. He might not come back.
Yeah.
So, and if he does stay, you have to take care of your competitors more so than anything else, because in stick fighting, yeah, you have the helmet, you have a padded stick. You're not really going to get hurt. You might get a welt here or there.
Yeah.
But in boxing, Savate kickboxing, there's some there's some consequences that if you don't train correctly, you might not make it out of that ring. So people need to understand how to take care of their students that are training for competition.
Yeah, yeah, um, yeah, I, yeah. I agree. I mean, I guess training. I guess fighting lots of rounds in the style that you're going to fight in is important ultimately. Um, I, with all these stick fighting tournaments, I go through this debate. Like I have a format for my tournament. It's different than others. I think they're all good. Needless to say, the easiest answer would be to get lots of rounds, but you need a team basically in order to do that. I mean, you can spar with a friend a lot, and that helps. But to really get them ready, you need to have your corner judges. Let's say if it's that, and you have to replicate it. So you have to have and you have to have people that are willing to tell you act. One thing is sometimes people never tell you did good. Like, oh, dude, when you hit me, that really hurt. Like some people never tell you that. You're like, I didn't realize I had any power till like fucking 7 years ago. I've hit bunches of people, but no one's ever like, everyone's got an ego and they're like, didn't hurt, man, didn't hurt. Finally, somebody's like, man, you hit hard. I was like, really? I didn't know. I don't know. That's just like, but you have to have people that want to help you get better.
Absolutely. You said a point there. You want to be around people that want to get you better.
Yeah. So,
absolutely. Excuse me.
No worries. I feel you. I mean, the classes that I teach, like on a Saturday, is kind of I guess my fighters, but I don't really delineate that because that's those kind of fighters, like someone that does 5 miles a day running and then all that kind of stuff. We're just people that like to do the gatherings, this Dog Brothers. So, but I am not in the main respect is I am not the teacher. I'm maybe a coach, but we're a team, and the team's what you need to get better.
Absolutely, absolutely, and you have to build up to that. You can't take a guy that's been doing something for 6 months and say, "Okay, let's go to a gathering." And all of a sudden, he gets beat up and he says, "Oh, I didn't know what I was going to do."
Set them up for success.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, absolutely.
You could, yeah, that's it's interesting. Like, God, what was I going to say? I mean, the way I trained 10 years ago is different than,
the way you train now.
Yeah. And all those things. Like, I mean, at this point, I do rest on my experience a little bit more so I can kind of keep myself safe, which is really not the way to win a fight, honestly. I mean, it's a way to survive, but to really win you kind of have to be very aggressive. You know what I mean? Like you have to have a killer instinct and you have to be very confident due to your cardio, due to the amount of work you've done. Like all those things give you confidence. And that confidence gives you a killer instinct.
Absolutely.
That's very important, I think. I'm not, like who are the best, like if you're talking like grappling, like Marcelo Garcia, when he was at his absolute fine, like the way they're sharpened is like pretty incredible.
Yeah, and absolutely.
pause. If somebody gives an opening to their neck, he has to take it, like, and he can't pause for 1 second, and that's only through repetition.
You're correct.
Or a kickboxer, when that person puts their guard down and you set them up, it has to be like a fine-tuned machine.
Absolutely. Or boxer itself.
Yeah.
And people, once you go into that type of realm, there's a lot of training for a specific purpose.
Yeah. And it's, I mean, you kind of look at it like, well, this guy will only probably get one stick competition out because he's got a kid, but he's going to learn a lot. So we got to get him ready and he'll learn a lot. It's safe enough. So there's that purpose. Or you got a kid who's 12 who is just an incredible athlete. So you want to keep him around for the next 10 years. So you start him a little slow, and I don't know, like, let's just work your footwork really push your footwork at the beginning, and then we'll go to power and stuff, and we'll all get it. Like you can just curate their forward momentum, but I don't know.
It takes time.
Yeah.
These aren't things that just you can go out there and wing it, and that's what I get with a lot of people. A lot of people just want to go out there and just. How long did you train? Oh, well, we train class twice a week, but we're just going to come out here because I'm so and so and so and so. Okay. And then they lose, and it's the rules. No, blame yourself because you didn't pay attention to what this was. This was a competition. You have to train for that. This is not self-defense where I only have a couple of seconds to decide what I have to do. Here, you're going up against somebody that's training for that purpose also.
Yeah, I can personally tell you, I did a gathering a couple of years ago, and I've done a lot of them. And it's not anything except that I've done a lot of them, I've done well at some, and whatever it is, you don't win them, but I did really good. And one time I had a lot of work, didn't train like I wanted to, but once again, I'm gaining experience, so I did it. And I wasn't too cocky about it, but I didn't do some of the things that I normally do. And when it came time to adjust, my legs didn't respond as fast as I would have liked. And I wasn't willing to get to the place where I needed to be. By kind of being mean, you kind of become safe. You make yourself safer because you're willing to go to the hit when you're supposed to hit, move when you're supposed to move. And I took it for granted, and I got hit pretty hard, and it wouldn't have normally happened, but the body wasn't responding. So someone coming around and saying just because they have a black belt, they're going to do good in a competition is very much a bad idea.
Absolutely. You're correct on that. Let me put it to you this way. What have you gotten out of competing?
Personally? Gosh, experience, pure experience, camaraderie. I've made good friends. If you open it up, I mean, and quite honestly, you learn more from your mistakes. I remember this, I used to kind of be like not big on the pakal grip, the ice pick grip. And this was just in one of the warm-up stick fights. This guy came forward and it landed right on this muscle here. I was like, in real life, I would have been dead. And I was just like, this motion, I was like, that's easy to block. And no, it's not that easy. It's like a tie kick. You see it. It's not that easy to block. And so I learned that. That's better than learning it being stabbed on the street.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's great. That's absolutely correct. That's absolutely correct. But let me do this, my brother. We're running out of time. But,
Okay.
thank you for your insights. And folks, if you want the best equipment for stick fighting, he's a place and the man to go get it from.
Thank you
And
very
and we'll put the link in the description below. But until next time, you take care, my brother, and everybody else. You all stay safe, be safe, and God bless you. Till next time.
Have you ever wondered about what happens in a martial arts studio? Well, you start right away by setting goals, building determination, gaining focus, building skills, all while becoming more fit, gaining confidence, and learning self-defense. Buitron Academy is a school where attitude meets aptitude. So give us a call at 956-401-4868.